is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're here. What a week for pro wrestling, am I right? You went to all in, I believe. Yes, you did. I don't believe.
Did?
I know. You texted me about it. Uh, Obviously, this is a Stardom podcast, but since that was the biggest wrestling show ever, how was your experience? I'm trying to be a good friend, a good host. How was your experience? Just real quick.
No, I've never been at a show at a venue like that, obviously, and
Mm,
nobody has. um, and it's a lot different. Because
yeah.
like I've never been to an arena show. I've never been to a TV taping. Like they don't do those here.
Mm,
So I've only ever been to indie shows, and it's just such a different experience. Like I feel like
yes.
you don't pick up on anything apart from like the big near falls and the big like dramatic spots. Like you need those, otherwise the venue just cannot get into it. So it's just a really different experience. Like I feel like MJF and Adam Cole had the entire venue wrapped around his finger, but I
Yeah.
would have hated that watching on TV. Like I'd have been like, oh, that's
I
so
get that.
over dramatic and shit. But like, you have to do that to make everybody like understand what's going on, kind of. So
Yeah.
it was a
It's
totally different experience than I've ever had before.
It's really interesting because my favorite spot, and of course we'll get into Stardom really quickly, but I just wanted to mention that I was thinking about that specific thing is that it's like my favorite spot of the night was uh Orange Cassidy doing
Yeah.
like a makeshift Taipei deathmatch thing where he like taped up his hand and like dipped it in glass and shit, and I was just like nobody sees, like nobody knows what he's doing right now, like because like realistically that probably looked pretty shit if you were like further than
Oh, I thought it
like.
was like thumbtacks or something. I had no idea what he was doing.
See, yeah, no, he was doing like he was doing Taipei Death,
Yeah.
which is a crazy callback. But I was just like, I imagine like a good 30,000 people have no idea what the fuck is happening right now because it's just like it wasn't. You have to shoot it insanely well in that sort of situation, and it's difficult to see. I remember, and not to name drop, I remember Pulse one time being like, "Yeah, I went to Wrestle Kingdom and it was awesome, but like I don't really need to go again because it's like stadium shows aren't, like some people are really into them and like sometimes like they're really like cool and it's like to be a part of it's dope, but like the actual viewing instance of it is just not as fun as going to a seedling show, and being 5 feet away. So, that's I get that.
Yeah,
But
cause
yeah, I thought I'd ask you about your experience.
that's fine. Yeah. Cause like I was at Eve the day before, the
Mm,
evening show, and it was like a lot more engaging, just because it's a lot smaller. Um,
yeah,
and I got to tick off Miyu Yamashita and Mei Saruga because I'd never seen them before in person, so I got to tick those
that's
off.
awesome.
And Miyu comes off cross really well in person. Like if you've never seen Miyu Yamashita live, her charisma in person is absurd. So that was my biggest takeaway from the weekend was Miyu Yamashita is such a star when you get to see her.
I believe it.
But yeah, we should get into the rest of the stuff. I think first,
Oh, and also shouts out Emi Sakura.
yes,
Love her.
Emi
She's such an A
Sakura,
all the time.
all time great. Emi Sakura, I did get to see her too. I got to see her go into the
Yes.
Hall of Fame, and it was very nice.
Which looked lovely.
Oh, honestly, it was so great. Like, and I'm very lucky now. I've been there to see Chigusa Nagayo and Emi Sakura go into that Hall of Fame, and it's been very special. Somebody who just loves Joshi history to like see two of the best ever get inducted into the Hall of Fame and get to be there as they get that moment. It's been really nice. And yeah, it was
Yeah.
great for Emmy. Before we get into anything else, we're gonna sidetrack again. Shout out one time to Terry Funk, a legend of this
Yeah.
business and somebody who is very Joshi adjacent because like
Yes.
before anybody else, was a big proponent for Joshi wrestling. Like he was telling people in the 80s, these girls are ahead of the game. And that wasn't a very popular sentiment at the time. Like we
Hmm.
discussed it over the last 2 years. For the first time ever, there was a Joshi match on the Shoe Pro Match of the Year list. Like the Joshi wrestlers were not seen on the same level as the men's wrestlers for a long, long time. But Terry Funk even back then was like, "Hey, these guys are legit." And I think Dave Meltzer credits him with really putting him onto AJW. So credit to a guy like Terry Funk for really appreciating and holding up the women's wrestlers at a time where it wasn't really the popular sentiment.
Yeah, we sometimes will say like a male wrestler is very like Joshi pilled. Like we talk about like Katsuhiko Nakajima a lot, where it's just like certain things he does is just like, oh yeah, I like it like a Joshi match in a way. Um, Terry Funk was like the OG
Hmm.
of that because, and I always remember I listened to a Mick Foley podcast pretty recently, and he was talking about how Terry Funk and and like Joshi wrestling was so like one in one, where he's like Terry Funk learned like was like okay, this is exactly like the emotional part of it is so much better on the Joshi side, and Terry Funk kind of was maybe not like he didn't necessarily learn it from Joshi wrestlers, but like they were along the same lines of like this is how a wrestling match should be told, this is how a story should be told, and this is how the emotional side of wrestling should be told. And McFoley was like, you'll see Joshi wrestlers cry, and it won't make them look weak. And that's not a thing for male wrestlers don't want to cry, but Terry Funk was willing to cry because he saw that Joshi wrestlers could cry and it make it even better, and he was like, that's real. Like you should do like that makes sense. Um, so there was a lot of almost crossover with Terry Funk and Joshi wrestling. So yeah, all love to him, obviously. R.I.P. He's great, and like I said, like you're totally right. There is such a, I don't know. There's a connection there that's really interesting to look at when you look at a lot of his matches, especially in Japan. And yeah, shouts out to
All
him.
right. This show is, as always, brought to you by the Five Star Network. Head on over to fivestarnetwork.co for all of the great articles about the wonderful world of wrestling, and head on over to the YouTube channel where there's a lot of different uploads also about the wonderful world of wrestling. Um,
I forgot to send Scott the description for the ACH. It'll be out soon. I'm just dumb.
Okay, that's fair. For once, there's like no news from Stardom. They haven't announced anything huge. There's just been like minor things. Hanan was pulled from the shows this weekend, I think. So that was about it. And they announced the pre-show match for the September 30th GP final. Otherwise, nothing really happening.
What's the pre-show match on that?
I think it's a big gauntlet or something. I just saw like a list of names, and I was like, okay, this isn't really worth watching. Um,
I just imagine
Yeah, it's a
Suzu's in
battle
it.
royal.
Like that's kind
Battle
of where
royal.
I'm.
Koguma,
Yeah,
Saida, Kogo, Mai, Tekla, Waka, C, Miyu, Hina, Rina, Rocka, Saki, Saki Kashima, that is, Hanako, Suzu, Meisera, Megan Bain, and Unimon. So yeah, just a kind of a everybody really.
yeah,
Um,
interesting.
and yeah, Hanan then pulled from the shows on the weekend. At least I think it's Hanan. I remember seeing the translation and I was like, it's probably Hanan. Um, but I'm gonna assume.
Perhaps
Yeah,
a
yeah, Hanami.
chance.
That is Hanan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
All
seeing
right.
her anywhere. I think that the twins weren't scheduled for the
Oh,
shows
that's
anymore.
fair. Yeah, I mean, you might as well give her time off. Like, there's no huge rush. Um, yeah. For once, there's no news, so let's just get into the results from.
Oh, Mercedes watch. Mercedes watch. That's the only piece of news
Kinda,
is Mercedes
yeah.
watch.
She was still in the
Um,
boot at all
Maybe.
in. She still has the boot on.
Yes. TK specifically said that she's not anywhere near
Yeah.
cleared
I
to
mean, we
compete.
we have a vague idea of
And
when we'll
yeah.
see her again doing New Japan stuff.
Mhm.
So I wasn't really expecting her back anytime soon. So you know.
I'd also like to say that and this is just kind of a assumption from a presumption, I guess. Um, like she posted something on Instagram that makes it seem like New Japan flew her out to
Oh.
All In and not AEW, which is weird. Like, cause like she got like a gift basket from New Japan, and like the little note said, "Please enjoy your accommodations here at whatever hotel she was at." And I was just like, you would think that would be AEW, if she was,
Yeah, I mean, I guess she still
AW
reps. She still
bound
reps like
immediately,
New
but
Japan and
yeah,
Stardom, doesn't she? On her socials, it's still
yeah,
New
yeah,
Japan. So yeah, I guess it kind of grows their name if people are like, oh, there's Mercedes Money, and that's like, oh, she, was New Japan strong or IWGP Women's Champion. So yeah, I can see why they would have done it, and she definitely became the conversation on the day with some of those photos. We were all expecting her
yes,
to show up, and
yes.
then they just showed her during the pre-show. They were like, "Oh, she's here," and I was like, "Whoa!" So that was
They also showed her during the acclaimed match for some
during the
reason, and she
entrance.
was like
Yeah,
scissoring,
during
and
the entrance, she was
it was
bopping.
dope.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
some strange
yeah,
decisions, but anyway, time to get into the results. There's two shows to review. The first was on August 26th. This was Starverse Presents 5-Star GP 2023, supported by SoftBank Nagoya Tournament. This is in the Nagoya International Conference Center event hall. This was a sold out 904 fans in Nagoya. Great, great
yeah.
number. You could definitely tell with the crowd reactions that this was full. Um, the opener then was Momokabe.
This is also a really great venue because historically it is known as the place that Jungle Kiona's hopes and dreams got crushed in
Yes.
2019. Um, yeah, it's a great venue. I love this
And
venue
now there
overall.
are no hopes and dreams.
And yeah,
She is
great crowd.
simply gone.
Yeah,
She has no knee.
yeah.
But yeah, the opener was Momo Abe and Starlight Kid beating Hanako and Saya Ida. Momo got the win with what they are calling the Dojime Chicken Win Face Lock.
It's just a buzz killer chicken wing,
Okay, that is fair.
Same thing. I watched
Of
this.
course you did.
Uh, Ida and Kid were cool. I thought that was fun. And then yeah, Kid taunted Ida. They're teasing the new blood match.
Oh yeah, the tag title match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Ida just gonna win the belts? Is Wingori taking the belts? Like, is that?
I feel like they probably should,
Yeah.
and they are really positioning Miyu as somebody who could lose so immediately.
Yeah.
Like she could use so easily. So I can definitely see an Ida over Miyu win there.
I
To
mean,
get the belt,
we will
get the
preview it
United belt.
obviously at the time, but like, there's no better way to get the titles off of the Diana World Champion than in a three-way tag.
Yeah,
So I could see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The next match anyway on the show was Mariah May and Waka Tsukiyama beating Miyu Amasaki and Lady C. Mariah got the win for her team with the Happily Ever After in 7.5 minutes. Um, I'm gonna assume you didn't watch this one.
Nah,
Okay.
you know.
That's fair. The next match was Amisori and Suri beating Yuna Mizumori and Natsupoi when Amisori got the win with a blue thunder bomb.
I did watch this. This was actually quite good. Um, yeah, it was fun. Ami has new hair and it looks really cool. Uh, so that's something. And Kozen did a lot of comedy, which I wasn't expecting. Like they were doing a lot of like theatrics, and every time Shuri would just kill them. So that was fun. Ami and Yuna did a lot of cool stuff together, and yeah, Ami over Yuna. They're running that in a singles match, I believe, pretty soon.
Oh,
It might be this weekend.
okay.
Um, Ami versus Yuna, which is
That might have been
one of the only
changed.
Ami singles matches. Oh
I'm not
man,
I'm
I was
not
gonna say
fully
that's
sure,
like
but I know Hanan getting pulled did change one or two matches, so I'll have to wait for the preview.
yeah. I'm just looking around
Checking
real
now. You
quick.
got to find out now.
Uh, lady season it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, I was
I was gonna
thinking
say
that.
it's like one of the only like singles matches from Ami that I'm just like, oh, that might be kind of interesting, and then there's like, nah, sorry.
Damn you, Hanan. Anyway, the next match was
Get better
Megan
taste.
Bain, May Sarah, and Tekla beating Momokogo, Hanan, and Mayu Iwatani. Megan Bain got the win for her team with the F5, so still keeping Megan
This
strong,
was
I guess.
shockingly good. Yeah, and F5 over Hanan,
Oh,
actually, not
okay.
Momokogo. So that was a shocker. Um, yeah, this was like just really good. It reminded me that I was like, oh yeah, that Mayu versus Megan match would have been so insane because they're so good. Um, and Mayu's just such a great
I mean, there's
underdog.
still
And then
time.
yeah, Momokogo. Yes, there is still time. Honestly, that would make sense if they ran that for the IWGP.
Yes, definitely.
But Momo and May did cool high speed stuff, and yeah, it was actually like a really good match. This was the best non tournament match maybe of the weekend.
All right, that is high praise, honestly. After that, then we get into the 5-star Grand Prix. We had a Red Stars block match. Natsuko Tora beats Tam Nakano in 11 minutes with a Swanton bomb. Natsuko moved up to 10 points with that win. And I thought this was a good match, but a bit of a weird match. Like, I feel like I've seen them
Hmm.
have better ones before. Um,
Oh, I've definitely seen them have better ones before.
of course. Um, but I just feel like there's a much better match between these two in there, and they just didn't.
Yes,
It was almost like they worked down. It was like they were like,
which I think is the
yeah, they
point.
were like, we are the first GP match out here. We're probably running this back. We're not going all out. So they kind of went that, 75% more than 100%. And I think that was noticeable.
Yeah, regardless of the decision of the tournament, I think Natsuko Tam is a match that's happening by the end of the year, for the red belt, because Natsuko's literally said it on every single show since the Tam match. She's been like, "Yeah, I'm challenging for the red belt. I don't care if I win. I'm challenging for the red belt. I'm gonna win, but I'm challenging for the red belt." Um, and that I'm excited for that match. This match wasn't great. Like I thought it was good, but it got me excited for for a match that I think could be great, which is their title match that's
Yeah.
going to happen eventually. So that was enough for me. Like I didn't think this was, like I said, I didn't think this was like anything special, but I was like, okay, I can see where they're going, and what they can really like deliver on eventually, because they're not really doing that right now. Because Tam didn't really. Tam's intensity level is insanely noticeable.
Yeah.
So like when she's not particularly like, putting her head out there, it's very noticeable, and you kind of have to work around it. So this was one of those matches where I was like, oh yeah, Tam just didn't really hit that hard type of thing, but I still thought that Natsuko did enough to make me kind of interested in the presumed, red belt match down the line. So
All
yeah.
right. The next match then was a Blue Stars.
Oh, and great promo
Of
by
course,
Natsuko, by
yeah.
the way. Natsuko's been cutting promos on
You
all of these
can
shows,
you
and
can
she's
tell
been killing it.
she's gonna do something big soon because like they're giving her so much promo time.
I think she's doing the
Yeah,
big thing.
that's
Like
true.
she
Yeah.
is,
Um,
she's the the top
yeah,
ranked right now.
like GP finalist, almost definitely. Um,
It's gonna be hard for anybody else to beat the GP finalists. Let's
yeah,
just put it that way.
so interesting from Natsuko. Um, then after that we had a Blue Stars block match with Mirai beating Julia in 12 minutes. So the white belt champion beating the double champ. Um, I think this started slow and then they just started to like murder each other a bit. And when they were doing the crazy shit, it was great. But that didn't make up for the slower start. Um,
Yeah, the last 3 minutes were
yeah, the
great.
last 3 minutes were like prime. This is what these two can do because obviously, like Mirai
Yeah,
throws her lariats, and Julia just likes to hurt people, and that's what they were doing for the last few minutes, and it was awesome. But before that, they were kind of just
before that,
it was just like fine.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought like by the end this was really fun. Especially because there was this one person screaming for all of the near falls and all of the lariats, and I was like, get
yep.
that person to every show, because I need that energy.
The Nagoya screaming
Yes.
lady sounds like someone I know.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, uh, yeah, I don't know. This match, the blue is weird this year. I'm gonna be real. Like, there's some great stuff in it, but like a lot of like those matches that like sound like they'd be really fun just haven't really been. And this match is one of them. Like, I kind of expected this to really have like something behind it. I did note that it's kind of crazy to think that it's been less than 2 years since Mirai was one of Julia's henchwomen beating up rookies with a
Oh
sledgehammer
my
and a
god,
momo
yeah.
mask. Um, if you're new here, the way Mirai debuted was as an evil, like serial killer wearing a Momo mask, which is a creepy pasta mask, uh, with a sledgehammer, beating up Miyu Amasaki and Waka Tsukiyama and Mai Sakurai and shit, before like in the pre-show matches, and that was of Julia's bidding. Crazy that
And
Mirai's here
Julia
now
was
and
like a
we're here now,
twist.
but
Like
yeah,
nobody no, like Julia was not meant to be involved.
yeah,
And
for no reason. Like in hindsight, that still none of that made
very,
sense, like at
very
all.
odd. Uh, s- yeah,
But yeah, that's a thing that
yeah.
happened.
But we all knew it was
Um,
Mirai
and
as
now we're
well
here.
because like she had very publicly left TJPW, and we were all like, okay, so it's
Yes.
Mirai, but why is she? Why does she have a sledgehammer? It
Why is
was
she doing that? and then there was a second one, and everybody was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
And then
what?" And
yeah,
then that
because
was
I think they
Tekla.
did the second one before the Ice Ribbon Exodus, and then as soon as
Mm,
everybody left, it was like, oh, so it's Tekla. Um, and then yeah, it made a lot more sense. So
what a crazy,
yeah.
crazy turn of events. But yeah, that butterfly affected its way to this
Yeah.
fine match that got really good in the last 3 minutes,
All
and that
right.
was about it. Finish was also a bit out of nowhere. Like she just clotheslined her, like she just hit a
Yeah, it
rainmaker,
was
and
one
that
of the
was it.
few GP matches where I'm like, oh, they left so much in the tank. Because for a lot of these GP matches, they're going like all out. But for this, it was
Mhm.
like, oh, they left so much in the bag, which makes sense because they're obviously going to do this on a big
Totally.
stage someday. Like this is one of those obvious red white belts on a big arena show matches. So I can understand them not giving the full thing away here. But yeah, it was definitely like I
Yeah,
had expectations that were slightly higher than what you gave me. You still showed me you could have a cool match, so I'll let them away with it.
totally.
Um, the main event then was a Blue Stars block match. It was Maika defeating Utami Hayashishita with a Michinoku driver number 2 in 14 minutes. Utami's only on 4 points, so she went from like a very obvious winner to me being like, uh, are we sure? um,
Yeah, it just feels like it's, and this is something that we'll talk about as it goes on. I don't know whose year it is, because like it doesn't feel like it's Utami's year
not at all.
anymore. The
It
5 star, I
feels
mean.
like
But
Natsuko's,
then I think
but
about it, it's like,
like
yeah,
Natsuko.
but that feels so obvious.
Natsuko also doesn't feel like a December sumo hall level challenger.
To be fair, Natsuko versus Tam feels like a perfect match for a huge
Mm,
show. And if they're trying to make Oedo Tai feel like it did a few years ago, where it felt like an actual thing that matters and is like outside of just the faction based shit, um, it has real killers in it, then I think Natsuko winning would definitely cement that. But it doesn't feel like it's anybody's year
yeah,
but
but I don't
Natsuko's.
see Natsuko as a
Um,
sumo hall main event. I don't
exactly.
know if the show is in sumo
It's
hall.
that's
I'm
the
just kind of
stretch.
assuming, but like I don't see her at that point.
Like she's perfect for the November show, whatever it is, or the
Yeah,
October show, whatever. You know what I mean? She's perfect for that in between, and that'll be a great match. Like I said, Natsuko versus Tam for the red belt. That'll be great. But she doesn't feel like she's winning this tournament, but she's the only one who feels like she's winning this tournament, if that makes
yeah.
any sense.
Well, I feel like Natsupoi has also
um,
put herself in, but I don't know if you could do
that would
Natsupoi Tam again.
she's oh
I guess it'd be a
oh
decent
yeah.
substitute for Saya and Poi, or not Saya and Tam, considering that was, allegedly the
We'll talk about
yeah,
this when we
yeah.
get to the preview, because there is a lot of things that go into the final on the Red Stars side already
Okay.
right now. Because there are some things that I do want to bring up. But yeah, this match, Micah Utami, you go first, because I have plenty to say.
Yeah, I feel like this is this is nothing we haven't seen from Mike and Utami before because they've
Yeah,
wrestled so
you
often.
wanna you you wanna know a
What?
stat? This is their eighth
Oh
singles
wow.
match, and this is the sixth one we've reviewed.
Oh yeah, I feel like one of the only ones that we didn't was from JTO. Like
It was it was in JTO, and then the other one was like pre Micah debut. Like okay, so there was one in JTO, and then there was one like
yeah,
right when Micah
before the
debuted,
show.
um, which was before we started. Yeah, and then since then there have been six that we've
Wow.
reviewed all of, and I've liked all of them, including this one. But I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, okay, you're gonna need to start taking a few more
Yeah,
risks here.
there's very little
Uh,
flavor. But like what they do well because they obviously have great
mhm,
chemistry and they're like custom made to wrestle each other basically. But yeah,
totally.
it's like everything is good and I enjoy it, but it's certainly like I would like to see something a little bit different the next time they wrestle. But I also can't complain about this because I thought it was really enjoyable. They were both doing
Yeah.
what they do really, really well. Like this is probably one of the better Utami performances since her America return. Um, and
Mhm.
obviously Micah's just like kicking
Yeah,
ass.
totally,
So
totally. Yeah, I think it's interesting, and not to be too puro brained, but I remember a Kano interview about his match against Kaito Kiyomiya, and he's like, "Yeah, we've wrestled each other like 7 million times, so of course I'm gonna try to murder him because, like we trust each other to try to murder each other because we've
Yeah.
wrestled so many fucking times." Um, and I'm kind of waiting for that out of Mike and Utami because it's like they definitely could do a bit more. Like they have to trust each other by now, type of thing. Uh, to like just kind of go the extra mile with each other, and I'm just kind of waiting for that one. Obviously, this wasn't a title match. This wasn't, this is a Nagoya main event on day 11 of a tournament. So I get why they didn't go full, balls to the wall. But I'm definitely waiting for their next big match, and I'm hoping that they really give like okay, here's uh, a bigger version of what we've been doing, and we give it put a few more risks in there and being a little bit more gruesome with each other. I think they could definitely use that because their rivalry is great. Like you said, it's like I don't remember ever them having like a bad match. Like they've had some like good matches, not particularly great, but like they are custom made for each other. They have great chemistry. It's just I'm kind of waiting for them to kind of uh you know compound on that, I guess, because I thought this was really good, but like you said, we've
Yeah.
seen it before.
It's kind of at the
um
point where,
Micah
yeah,
winning
I
was
thought
cool,
she won out of nowhere as well. Like it was very sudden. Um, yeah.
which I kind of liked in this case, because she hit the
Hmm.
reactionary Winchdoku driver, which is dope. I love that. And then she's just like, okay, it's over now. And then she picked her up and got her another one. Um, and that really cements the Michinoku driver as just like a killer, which it always has been because she's beaten Utami with it a few times. But I like how kind of Micah has that out of nowhere mystique to her that she really can just kill you at any time with the Michinoku
Yeah,
driver.
and I mean those finishes are always just really good in a tournament like this because you can go, oh well, they lost pretty suddenly, so it wasn't like they got their ass kicked. They just lost from the one move or something. So I kind of like those finishes. But yeah, it was a pretty good match, and they lived up to that main event billing. Um, but I certainly would like something
Yeah,
just with a little bit of a twist on it next time they wrestle. Yeah, like we have,
totally,
it's reached
totally.
the point of
Um,
like the when like Tanahashi and Okada had like 10 matches and everybody had reached the point
yeah,
of it's great, obviously, but can you do something a bit new with it? Um,
and at a certain point, they did. Like they had this one G1 match that was great because it was just completely
yeah.
different. Um, but then they kind of went back to like what I mean. So it's like there is room in these legendary 17 million repeat singles matches feuds. There's room to do something more. Um, and this match just wasn't that. I will say the post match, which I will go into, I loved a lot. Unless you have more things to say about the match
No,
itself.
go ahead.
So after the match, they were like Michael was like, "Yeah, I beat Utami, I'm gonna win." And Utami's like, "Nah, I'm still winning, homie." Like as she's dead on the floor. And Michael's like, "Yeah, okay." And then they talk about, "Oh, we're gonna be teaming up at the Dream Tag Festival thingy. So, since we're gonna be partners, I guess we should probably start being a little bit nicer to each other." And they were like, "Okay, I have a gift for you. Oh, I have a gift for you." And so they both exchanged their favorite alcohols. So Micah gave Utami her like personal branded sake, which is very funny. Like I think the fact that Micah still just has a brand of a brand of alcohol is very funny to me. And Utami, who does not have her own brand of alcohol, gave Micah the tequila rose tequila, a bottle of tequila, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, cool." And so they drank it, like they took a swig of it, and they both like acted like they hated it, but neither of them hated it because they just kept drinking it. And I think that's very funny. Like even on like Micah's Instagram story, like yesterday, there was like she posted a picture of her drinking the tequila, and I'm just like, girl's just." And then afterwards, Utami also, she got out of the ring. She's like, "Oh, this is disgusting," and then she just kept drinking it and chasing it with water. And Lady C's just watching her like, "Damn, you're down in that shit, huh?"
That's incredible.
So a couple alcoholics, not the last alcohol use of the weekend, but yeah, I thought that was a very fun little post match thing that they did together.
All right, and that was that show. So the second show to review then was on August 27th. This was Starverse Presents 5-Star GP 2023, supported by SoftBank Saruga Tournament. This was in Fukui. the Fukui Kirameki Minatokan in front of 307 fans. In the opener, Waka Tsukiyama beat Miyu Amasaki and Hanan when Waka pinned poor Kevin. So Miyu Amasaki really shot
Yeah,
down the card here lately.
that was where I realized that's like, oh, she's getting the losses she should have gotten last year, but didn't. You know what I mean? Because they were like kind of protecting her for a while, for some reason. Everybody was like, oh, okay. Uh, and then now they're like, okay, you could lose some.
Yeah.
You could lose to the other ones.
Yeah, especially because like
Her losing
Hanako is
over
right there.
Hanako is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Was
I was expecting Miyu to probably be the next future champ, but like now that I'm looking at him, I was like, that might be
she
a
still
hard
could,
sell.
but yeah, I suspect they are cooling her down so she can lose the New Blood tag match to whomever.
Yeah.
So that's neat. The next match was Megan Bayne and May Sarah beating Lady C and Utami Hayashishita. Megan Bayne once again got the win with the F5. Um, yeah, I feel like we're firmly in running in place position with Megan Bayne because she has nothing
Yeah,
lined up.
this was pretty weak. This is one of the weaker Megan Bayne May Sarah matches I've seen.
Oh,
Um, there was like a highlight, like Utami's selling for Megan was dope.
yeah,
Like Utami was selling her ass off. Uh, but the actual like meat of the match, because that was only like 30 seconds of it. The actual meat of the match was just insanely underwhelming. There wasn't much to it, and even May Sarah just didn't really have much to do because she doesn't really have any. But like May Sarah works best when somebody's like either beating her up very well or she's doing high speed stuff with them, and they just didn't really do either of those in this match, so it just kind of wasn't there overall. Uh, yeah, pretty weak match. Definitely interested in what Megan does next because I have no fucking idea.
yeah. I feel like a lot of the roster is like that. 'Cause even like the next big card we have announced, the big challengers are outsiders who aren't on the shows,
hmm
so most people are just kind of shrugging their shoulders. And it definitely kind of
Which
impacts
makes
the
sense to
interest.
kind of protect the people in the tournament, so that
Yeah,
we don't have too many singles matches that they're losing outside the tournament. But it definitely does make somebody like a Megan Bain just like, okay, where are we gonna, you're living in Japan, what are we gonna do next, type
yeah.
of thing.
Like unless they announce
Because
her and May Sarah for Tag League, it's like, all right, what was the point after the Tam match? You know, like as much
yeah, and
as
also it'll make me wonder like why do the tag tam match that early?
yeah, that's true.
Uh, if she does stay around, until the beginning of tag league and then doesn't do tag league, especially, that would be bizarre. The timing
Very.
of it all.
But what can we do? The next match was Mirai and Suri beating Yuna Mizumori and Tam Nakano when Suri got the win with the Suzaku in 10 minutes.
See, this was weird
Okay.
because for
Are
whatever
you
reason,
like Yuna Mizumori's biggest fan? You've watched a lot of her matches.
not even like Yuna. I do love Yuna Mizumori. Preferred her in Seven Up. Preferred her in Shoka Pro. Cosmic Angels Yuna Mizumori is probably my least favorite Yuna Mizumori, but that's okay. She's still great. Um, But no, I mean, this was like a fine match. I mean, Mirai Shuri is a cool team, and Unamon's cool, and Tam's fine. But this match was weird because like Mirai was just going so try hard for no reason, and like I was so confused. I was like, why are you like trying harder than you have in half of the tournament matches? What's happening right now? This is insane. Because she was just like she was going ham against Yuna and then against Tam too. Like she was just going insane against them to the point where like when Shuri tagged in, there was a noticeable like kind of like not downgrade because Shuri's Shuri, but Shuri was just kind of doing her house show stuff. And so like there was a noticeable like plateau there where Mirai's just killing motherfuckers and Shuri's just like, okay, let's do the house show stuff
Incredible.
to close it. And I'm just like, what just happened? Like why why did you do that? Like it was great, but it's such a random match for Mariah to just be like, okay,
Well,
I'm gonna be running the ropes especially fast. I'm gonna be hitting them
yeah.
especially hard. I'm gonna be going, a little bit extra. I'm gonna put a little oomph on my stuff here over like, the Julia match early on. Like, like that's like bizarre to
Yeah,
me.
I think it's just because she was against Tam. You know, I think she's
Yeah,
she's
it's possible.
established that Tam is very important to her, so she probably works up anytime she's against her. So I would imagine that's the
I could
case
see that.
there.
I could see that.
The next match then was Tekla, Maika, and Julia against Momokogo, Saida, and Mayu Iwatani. Um, Maika got the win for her team with what they're calling the Enkagu. I don't know what that is.
Uh, the Enbu Goho.
Oh,
That's what
is
it
it a
said on the.
submission?
It's the Micah Buster.
Oh,
It's
I
the
see.
Micah Buster.
Okay,
That's what it used to
right.
be called. It's the pump handle, or not the pump handle, the package pile driver that's not a pile driver, it's a side
Right.
slam. Uh,
Oh, I forgot about
the
that.
one that,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Didn't she pull
the
that out
one the
against
one that
Ida the
like,
first time she did it? Did she do it on Ida here too?
no, she
Oh,
won against
okay.
Komomo. In fact, Komomo took it terribly.
Oh,
Um, she like landed on her ass, and it just looked like it looked like it hurt because tailbones,
yeah,
but it also did not look how it was meant to look, and I thought that was funny.
right.
Um, but yeah, I it used to be called the Micah Buster, but now they have like a name for it, like you said, that name on the
And
feed. It
Kagu.
said the Enbu Goho.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Cool move. It's a fine move.
All right.
Uh, and the match was also fine. Julia and Komomo obviously did some stuff. Uh, Julia fucked her up.
Hell
Ida
yeah.
and Micah did some stuff. That was fun. Mayu and Tekla is still a crazy combination that's always great together. They just don't really get to work much. So yeah, this is a solid match.
All right. And then we get into the meat of the action. We had Saori
Yes,
Anou beating Hanan in Blue Stars block action, and I thought this was really good.
me too.
Saori Anou has obviously perfected working on top, given her years in the Sekigo Navaz Academy, and she brought all of that here. She was just beating down Hanan, and Hanan was ready to fight back. Like this wasn't just the standard Hanan underdog performance. This was Hanan fighting for her life against Saori
It
Anou.
was similar to the Izumi match in that it felt like Hanan, even though she was getting beat up, like she was the underdog, she was kind of treated as like another wrestler and not just the underdog who's gonna
Yeah.
lose. Which was great. It made it really, really fun.
Yeah, and Anno is obviously very good at this role. I mean, she was just like kicking her in the face and responding to the forearms with really good forearms. So yeah, this was just really fun. They played off the dynamic really well, and they just did what they needed to do. You know, it was only 7 minutes. They just got in, told the story they wanted to, wrestled well, went home. You know me, I love a match like that. I love a match that just does what it wants to
Yeah,
do, and they get out of there. So yeah, I was really into this.
yeah, no, same. I think it's really a shame that Anu's tournament has been entirely in like the smaller shows. Like she only got the opener on the she had her match against who the fuck she wrestled on?
Julia?
Oh,
Yeah.
Julia. She had that, and then she's gonna get Mina, and then otherwise it's all gonna be pretty much the smaller shows. She got one Corkin, and I was like, damn, she's been like insanely
Hmm.
consistent this entire tournament. But history probably won't look back on her tournament as anything special, because she just hasn't had these huge matches that you know,
Well,
and she hasn't been dominating the field like Natsuko
we're gonna
has. Type
try
of
our
thing.
best.
She's just been
Just
really
that we,
good. She's just been really
yeah,
good. Like that's been Anu's tournament, which is awesome, and we need that in tournaments. But I'm just like, damn, this is rough because it's like these are where all of her matches are going, and she's not getting a ton of like huge spots in the tournament.
yeah, but we're gonna try our best. We will tell everybody that she is having a killer tournament, and I don't
Yeah,
think it'll
she
matter
is.
because this
She
is
is.
going down as one of the best tournaments ever. So just being in it will be enough. Because yeah, this tournament is ridiculous. But yeah,
I think I realized that in the next match,
right, that is fair.
because I was just like, I wanted to like find not even wanted to find something wrong with it, but I was just like, okay, these two aren't necessarily what I would expect to have a phenomenal match, and I was like, this was just
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like I can't find anything wrong with
Well,
it.
speaking of that match, we had Blue Stars block action. Mariah May beats Momo Watanabe in 11 minutes with Once Upon a Time. Um, I don't know what that is.
It's a Gnosuke
Oh
with the
yes, I
clutch. It's a
like I
Gnosuke
did
with the
watch
clutch.
these matches. I did. I just can never remember the finishes unless it like really sticks out. Um, but yeah, this I what I loved about this was the counter wrestling that they did. Because it's
Mm,
like they're both X amount of matches deep into a tournament, of course they would know what the other person's gonna do. Um, like Mariah May going for her, the turnbuckle, where she like flips on the turnbuckle and head
Yeah,
scissors them down, and Momo just catching her because she obviously knows that's what's coming. Um,
hitting her with the
yeah,
tree of woe
and
and then
Mariah
kicking her
being
head
caught in
off.
the B driver position and being like, okay, well I can get out of this and hit my power bomb. Like there was a lot of really interesting and cool
Mm.
counter wrestling that I thought was really really fun. That made it like, oh, watching their matches up until this point has paid off because these two clearly know what the other wrestler is gonna do, and I always appreciate when stuff like that happens where it's almost as if the wrestlers are studying the tape, or if they're watching the other tournament matches or something like that. So I thought this was well wrestled, but it was the counter stuff that really made me go, okay, this was like really interesting.
Yeah. The reason why I said that I was looking for something bad, I think that might have sounded worse than I meant it, was that like
Momo
at this
hater.
point I was like, no,
You
at this
never
point I
liked
was like,
Momo
okay,
Watanabe.
that is that is so false. I am losing the words, and I never lose the words. That's the craziest thing. Um, but no, because at this point I was like, maybe I'm being like too generous about this because this is just all good. Like it's, I mean, we'll talk about the next match, but it's pretty much all good. Um, and I was just like, maybe I need to be harsher. And then I watched this and I was like, trying to be harsher, and I just couldn't because it was also really fucking good. I just really liked it. It was another great match. I loved that Mariah started it really quick. She did the shotgun drop kick to the
Hmm.
stomach, which looked gross. And then she did like a big dive, which you don't really see from Mariah. Uh, and it was also funny because Waka forced Miyu Amasaki to take half the impact. Like she's like kind of like grabbed her by the hair and put her with Momo, and Mia's like, "What the fuck?" And then she took it, and it was crazy. I thought that was a really funny start to the match. Um, and yeah, I just thought it was a really good match overall. Like you said, the counter wrestling was great. I thought that the Once Upon a Time was an interesting way to finish it. And Momo also said like on Twitter that it's like I always fall to these fucking roll ups, which is her and Shuria kind of have that same issue where it's like they often are found losing. Are you sneezing? Are you okay?
No, I'm fine. I'm just breathing loudly, maybe.
You are breathing incredibly close to the mic.
Oh,
Uh,
whoops.
yeah, just so you know, just so you
It's okay.
know.
Sorry.
You're gonna hear this in edit, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, that's crazy."
Wow, because I usually I can't hear myself breathe, but maybe I'll move the microphone away.
I know, just a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, I just thought this was a great match. Like I said, the finish was great, solid action. Just another insanely like this tournament shouldn't be this good.
Well, it should.
It shouldn't.
It should.
It's not fair.
I don't
It's
know.
not fair.
I mean, 19
Like I'm starting to
killers.
sound like a broken record. It's like, oh damn, another really good match. Who would have thought?
Yeah, no, listen, I accepted a while back. This is like one of the greatest tournaments we'll ever see. And we may never see a tournament this good again. Like, I don't know if you'll ever get all of this stuff just working this well ever again. But yeah, like this entire GP has just been ridiculous. Um, yeah, what I like about Mariah May and her tournament is she's really shown like a lot of different stuff. Like a
Mm,
lot of wrestlers have been really good at what they do. Saori Anou has been really good at what she does, but I'm not sure I would say she's having like a wide range of matches. Whereas Mariah May, I feel like every match has almost been distinct in its own way. Like this was different to the Mina match, which was different to the Julia match, which was kind of different to the Hanan match. You know what I mean. Like
yeah,
she's going out there and really showing like a full range of skills. Like even her starting the match fast was so counter to how she usually wrestles. Like I really like what she's doing here and like keeping all of the matches fresh. Because yeah, like she's having such a good tournament. And it's I'm so disappointed she's leaving. Well,
yeah, yeah. It's a bitch.
reportedly, rumors have it she's going to AEW, and yeah, it's man, she's just kicking ass.
I know she and like she keeps getting better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is that it's like it's not like she's like just like at this like level where she's like great and she's kind of hit a ceiling. Like she is nowhere near her ceiling in Stardom, um, in my opinion. And that's where I'm just like, man, the shit sucks.
Yeah.
But I guess they need a new Brit to win, not Brit, a new British person to win the world title at next year's All
Oh
In.
yeah,
So
they're going back to
yeah,
Wembley.
we'll be rooting around
Yeah.
over there.
Um. Anyway, the next match then was a Red Stars block match. It was Ami Sourei beating Starlight Kid in 12 minutes with like a thunderbolt. Um. I kind of like this. It started hot and then kind of tempered out a bit, but the hot start kind of carried it enough. It was nice to see
Yeah,
Ami
yeah.
Sourei actually show something more than just Chop Girl. Like she was starting fast.
It was. I thought Ami did
Yeah.
decent in this, especially start and finish. I thought that her start was very fun, and obviously Kid as well. The start was a two-person job, and that was really fun. And then near the end, I start like, and I feel like this is the case with a lot of Ami stuff, is that it's like you start to kind of see her get into a groove at certain parts points of matches, and I'm just like, there's something here. It's just the rest of it just falls apart, and it's like, for me, the issue with this match was that they both just could not sell for shit. They were both selling something. Uh, Ami fucked up Kid's back early on, and then Kid was targeting the leg as she always does, and it just like, if it didn't, like, they just immediately dropped it the second that they needed to, and I was just like, if that's what this is like gonna be built off of, past the fast start, at least do a little bit more consistency with it. It was just a bit like in that way, and a lot of like the middle match was kind of middling. But yeah, there were like points where I was just like, this impressed me because, believe it or not, this was the least anticipated match of my tournament. Because look at it. But I thought there was like stuff that impressed me here, and I was like, oh man, this could be good, but just like there were certain things that just kind of held it back, and they were there were some botches in it, which, botches are botches. I don't really care. But like the crowd also kind of had a hard time getting into some of the spots, and it just it wasn't bad. It just was, you know, I thought it could have been better, which I was shocked to think after the fact because I was not expecting anything from this match.
Yeah, I mean, I've ran the range of different reactions to Ami Sourei. Like originally, I was very much one of the sympathizers for Ami. Then I went to, I don't really like Ami. I'm at a point now where I think Ami is fine. Um, so whatever I get from her that is better than solid, I will take. Because I didn't
Hmm.
enjoy the Hazuki match all that much. I don't know if you ever watched it. Like,
I liked
I
I
just
liked the
thought that was
Hazuki
such
match. That was a match
bone.
that I liked.
I just thought
Super
that was
long
such bone
for
dry
no fucking reason.
standard pro wrestling. That I was like I couldn't get into it at all. So seeing her here, where she like started off hot and like really took the fight to Starlight Kid, I thought that's something different that I appreciate at the very least. So so long as she isn't giving me completely fine standard pro wrestling, I think I will take it. 'Cause yeah, I don't love Ami Sourei, but like I don't think she's bad either. So anything she can give me that I enjoy, I will take. Um, so yeah,
She's really leaning on that Styles grab.
yeah,
I don't know why, but she loves that Styles grab, and she does not do it
yeah.
very well.
You
Um,
know, we
like
we gotta
you,
just
you know,
we live.
like a Thunderbolt still
Yes,
goes crazy though. Like let's like that's still the highlight of a Ami Sourei match is when she wins with the
yeah.
like a Thunderbolt.
Um,
Killer.
the match after that then was the main event. It was a Red Stars block match. Natsuko Tora beat Natsupoi in 12 and a half minutes with a Swanton bomb to take a commanding lead in the Red Stars block. I think Natsuko is one of these people whose tournament is just very level. Like it's very
Hmm. I thought this was probably one of the
yeah.
better
Well, I
matches of
mean,
the
it was
tournament.
against Natsupoi, which is obvious.
That's true. Not to point, I always like kind of, and I will make jokes about her later. But I always kind of, I don't give her all of the flowers she deserves. She's been phenomenal, and she is phenomenal. And she's outside of the kid match, which is just a personal thing, like that I don't really like. She's just not missed, and she's not only not missed, she's just had like such a high
Hmm.
floor of wrestling matches this tournament that it's like, shout out to her. and this was one of them. I thought this was really, really good.
Alright, yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
would agree. I feel like she brings the same stuff to every match, but it really depends on her opponent to make it, and Natsuko is one of the people who will make it. Also, they did some like cool stuff. I thought some of the stuff on the outside and the apron was alright. Um,
Yeah, it was fun. I love Natsupoi looking for the Centauri surprise, um, which is a callback to fucking historic crossover from last year when Uncle Nobu gifted her a bottle uh
mhm.
of Centauri, obviously of whiskey, and she like was like, you know what, you do the mist, I do the Centauri surprise, motherfucker. And I thought that was a very funny kind of play on that. She did end up blaming her loss on being drunk, which I don't think spitting out a mouthful of whiskey gets you drunk, but I mean it's not spoil, so maybe I don't know.
That is
She's
fair.
weird.
Yeah, no,
I thought that was pretty
I
fun.
noticed that, and I was like, oh, that's very neat, very random, but neat. And yeah, that was that match. That was that show.
Oh,
If oh,
I have
okay.
a couple more things to say about that match specifically. I thought Natsuko did a good job of just like being the dominant force here. I thought that like her power stuff kind of looked a lot better because Natsupoi takes it so well. Um, And yeah, I thought that was really fun. Like you said, the ringside stuff was all really good. It was just a really solid match from start to finish. Also, completely clean on Natsuko's side. She went for the mist, but she missed, and then she still won. Like I said, clean as a whistle with the combos she usually does, the Death Valley and the Swanton. So yeah, she's ending the main part of her tournament because she only has one match left and it's on the final day. She's ending the main part of her tournament with a crazy couple wins in a row. Uh, 2 days in a row she beat the former tag team champions, and one of them is the world champion right now. And I thought that was pretty cool. After the match, which obviously Natsuko's been doing cool promos and whatnot, but I thought this was like especially good. After the match, she said, "Damn, I just beat all of Kozen, bro. Maybe y'all suck." And then she started like walking Natsuko like a dog, like pulling her by the hair and walking around the ring and just mocking her. And then she said bye poi and kicked her out of the ring. Uh and then she said once again with Tam at ringside, she's like, "I'm coming for your belt. It doesn't matter if I win or not. I'm going to win. Nobody can catch up to me, but I'm taking your belt. I hope you know that." And she said, "Shiver in your sleep," which is her new catchphrase. Um, yeah, Natsuko is just charisma wise, she's there, right?
Yeah.
She's where I've been like, yeah, she can get there if they just kind of let her, and she's there, right? I called her the new charisma of Oedo Tai, which is high praise considering for those of you who don't know, the charisma of Oedo Tai was Kagetsu. That was his nickname. So I'm kind of there. Like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Natsuko. Her matches are still, like you said, pretty. They have a pretty consistent level, but they're never like phenomenal. Uh, but just in that way, and just like how she carries herself on the mic and everything, she's there, and I'm really happy for that.
Yeah. I mean, they've really done something with her in this tournament, and coming out of the Queen's Quest cage match was really the perfect time to do something like that because her response to it was like, okay, they can unleash a monster here. 'Cause, somebody like her losing and then just going berserk is such an easy story to do, and so far that's what they've done, and it's definitely
I also think it's interesting because they let it be like, okay, her first faction
yeah,
based loss prompted her to be like, okay, I'm going to be the best singles wrestler. And
yeah,
she, I mean, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. When it's like, oh, you don't want to show that you're losing confidence in one aspect of the game, so you just start killing people in a singles. Like that's really like that's such a small like little nuance, but I think that's really dope. That's like, oh well, I lost for the first time in a tag team setting that was a major situation. Um, okay, I'll just be a better
yeah,
singles wrestler now because I can't trust that anymore. And I think that's an
yeah.
interesting
I
little
mean,
tidbit.
listen, they're doing well by Natsuko. I can't really complain. But that is all the stuff to review. There wasn't really much to take away from those shows. I think they were very much just like, hey, here's a lot of good matches, you know. Um, Whereas, before we've had like stuff to really bite into, but not today. But that's fine. There's enough shows to talk about this weekend. First thing to note is that on Saturday there is a pay-per-view from Sendai Girls. It is the Big Show in is this the Big Show in Senjo or no? Big Show in Niigata has some legendary names like Kong, Sakura Hirota. I guess you could say Iger. I would say Iger because she's great. Yeah.
I would say
Um,
Iger. Shouts out. She's also
yes.
near
That.
retirement, so see probably her last match
Yeah.
against
And
Sakura.
this is a great card, by the way. I mean, I don't need to tell anybody that Sendai Girls always does good stuff. But there is Stardom.
Do you know if they show their match zero? I know this is off topic, but do they ever show their
I
technical
don't
dark
think they
match anywhere?
have.
Because I really want to see the rookies because I'm like really interested in them. They look good, and Sendai hasn't had a rookie in
Yeah,
years, and I really like the JoJo
of
girl.
course.
She pops me. So I'm just like waiting to finally see her, but all of those shows are on backlog that aren't
Well, they're getting through them. They
uploaded yet.
finally started re-uploading the other week, and it's been joyous.
That's good.
There is Stardom involvement in this show. Natsupoi is taking on
Yes.
Eureka Oka in what appears to be opener. It says the first match. I don't know if that just means the first match of
Yeah,
Stardom's thing. But yeah, Eureka Oka is
that is the first
she's one of
match.
the like prospects from Sendai Girls, like very clearly has a future. If they ever want to go all in on
Mhm.
her, she's quite talented. I was kind of underwhelmed when this was first announced, but that's because I had got my hopes up for something like huge. But like this will be a fun match, Oka.
It's a strange match to
Yes,
book
yeah,
because I feel like Natsupoi is perfect in like a very specific role, and this match I assume will be more like Natsupoi being the
it
experienced
it
wrestler
could
and
be a bit
Yurika
more
Oka
high
kind of playing
speed.
under.
Oka isn't really high
Yeah, that's
speed,
that's
but
what I
she's very
hope.
good at like the back and forth junior style match. So
Yeah, that's what I hope. But like, I don't know. I just wasn't expecting a Natsupoi Oka match. I guess like that's I don't know if that's the best use of Natsupoi or Oka's abilities in this case.
yeah, that was kind of my
But we'll
initial
see.
disappointment was I wouldn't have put Natsupoi against her, but it's not like it's a bad match either. Like I like Eureka
No,
Oka. Her stuff with Inaba was really good. Um, yeah, that's Natsupoi's match, and then not like Stardom related, but kind of. Kairi is teaming with Veni to take on Red Energy, which is Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase, and that will obviously be fantastic. I mean, Veni has for years now been one of the best Joshi wrestlers around. Mika Iwata is awesome. Miyuki Takase is always great next to Iwata in tag matches, and I mean Kyrie is Kyrie, so that would be a good time.
the amount of pain I will be in when Red Energy loses
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I mean, it was like, oh, you could have given them an easier match, maybe, but no. Former world champion Veni and Kyrie, who does not take L's anymore. So a good time.
She should go on her
Yeah.
back.
Well, yeah,
Takase,
she probably
take
should,
her
but
out.
she won't. Miki Iwata should get revenge for the McDonald's staff beatdown. Um,
Fuck. Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
totally
match is
forgot
so
about that.
raw. Like it is so based. If you've never seen it before, Kyrie beats this girl within an inch of her life. It is something else. Anyway, there are two Stardom shows to preview this weekend. The first is on the 2nd of September. This is Starverse presents 5-Star GP 2023 in Fukuyama, supported by SoftBank, the Hiroshima Prefectural Fukuyama Industrial Exchange Center, Big Rose. Sure. um,
Love that.
the undercard is pretty standard for the most part. Uh, be interesting,
There's a Fatal Four Way, which is
I
new.
guess,
This
kind of.
is uh, three of them are high
Yeah.
speed, and one of them is Hanako, so that's interesting.
My
That
eyes were
that could
drawn
be fun.
to Konami, because Konami is teaming with Suri to take on Mirai and Saki Kashima in a
Ooh.
bit of a preview tag there for the Sunday show.
Oh, Konami's killing
Yes. Oh
Saki
yes.
Kashima.
She's going to obliterate her. I didn't realize it's God's Eye against God's Eye. That's fun. So yeah, that's probably the most interesting match there because the rest is just pretty standard. Um, pretty standard stuff. Then we get into Blue Stars block
Yeah.
action. Utami Hayashishita takes on Mariah May. So Mariah does she have like 6 points? Yes, she has more points than
6.
Utami.
Yeah, she's at the top.
Hmm.
She's at the top
Wow.
of the block. She's tied.
Okay.
Like there's 5 people at the top of the block,
Well, I
but
guess Utami is
she's at
winning.
the top of the block.
um, would make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Because she has a bigger match the day
That's
after,
true.
so she
That's
kind of
true.
needs, you know, she can't be losing 2 matches in a row, which is a very big
Very fair.
possibility if she loses to Mariah.
The match after that then is a Blue Stars block match. It is Mina Shirakawa versus Azumi. So I don't know the point situation here.
I feel like this is an Azumi upset because Mina also at 6, Azumi is at I don't know if they want to log jam it, but they definitely can. Because so basically, the way we're looking at it, on the blue side at least, is everybody is at 6 except for Julia, Micah, Utami, Azumi, and Hanan. And Julia and Micah are only not 6 because they have draws, so they're at 5. So an Utami win and an Azumi win means everybody that is not Hanan has 5 or 6 points. Well, who else is on the show? That's not true. Uh, so yeah,
Oh yeah.
because I forgot Julia and Momo is also a match on the show. So yeah, they might log jam it, and this is a match that Azumi can win. Um, 'cause
Well,
she doesn't have
I
many
don't
of
know.
those
I feel
left,
like I
really.
could see her picking
Uh,
up 2 more wins. Do you give one of those against Mina, or do you keep it? Because does she have bigger fish to fry? She still has Momo.
so okay, so the thing is that
Yeah,
actually
like
she could lose here.
I
She
would
could definitely lose
suspect
here
she'd
because the
beat
thing is she
Momo.
has a definite loss. She has a definite loss against Micah
Yeah.
because that's in Fukuoka. Um, and I feel like she could definitely beat Julia. And then Momo is a toss up. She could upset her
Oh,
last
she's
day.
definitely doing
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So she could lose here, but this is this is just a winnable match. If she isn't beating Julia, I feel like she kind of needs this match to kind of not she doesn't need it, but she could use this
Yeah.
match
Well, I suspect
as a
she'll
win.
be around
But
8.
if she is beating
So there
Julia,
are 2 more wins there. But I just
yeah,
don't know if you give one to Mina, because Mina
exactly.
will probably need points, because I don't see her beating Saori Anou on that last day. Um,
Mina's has Azumi, Anu,
yeah, like there's
Micah,
not a lot of
Momo.
points there for Mina to pick up,
That's a
so I
murder's
think
row.
she has
That's
to beat
hard.
Azumi.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
No, I believe that.
The match after that then is Blue Stars block action. Julia takes on Momo Watanabe. So this is a pretty big match. Obviously, they've been feuding on and off for forever now. So this could be great.
Yeah. From the
Yeah.
jump.
I suspect this might go to a draw because I don't know if they'd want to give.
I think Blue has had too
Yeah,
many
but I don't know if
draws.
you do a winner for this kind of match in Fukuyama. You know?
It's one of their first meetings outside of the Cinderella, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Like this is a pretty protected match, so I don't know if you give away a winner in Fukuyama.
um,
Like, this was essentially a final decider, like 2 years ago, if Julia had been healthy. So,
yeah. So they had their match last year that Momo beat Julia, um, straight
hmm
up. So and that stopped Julia because Julia was at 13 and Momo was at like 6.
yeah,
I could see them just kind of running reverse and having Julia win here. Um,
I don't know. I feel like Julia going to 7 would be almost like too powerful.
the thing
um,
is that Julia, this is going to be her, what is that, 4 or 5? This is her 6th match. This is Momo's 5th. So Momo still is a match
right.
behind and she has 6. Um,
Yeah. So
so
she can draw
sh-
here, and then I would have her losing to Azumi, and she probably drops one of her other matches, maybe to Mina, and she finishes around 9. I think that would be fair for Momo.
yeah, I don't know. It depends on where the ceiling is. Because, I mean, the Blue Stars block is
Yeah.
like the harder block to kind of predict at this
Well,
point.
I'm always assuming like 10 points. So I think going into the last day with 9 would put her in a position to be like, oh, well, if she wins, she just goes through because then it's the odd number.
Hmm.
So I would have her I would have this end in a draw.
That would be an interesting. I don't know. I feel like Julia already having a draw kind of deters me from feeling that way, but I can definitely see it. I mean, they're running more draws this year than usual. Um,
Yeah,
I my gut tells me Julia's winning this. Um,
that's fair.
especially because I think Momo definitely has
I
that
think Julia
Utami
winning
match.
is like the last of the options because like if she hasn't beat Momo yet, I don't know
Well,
if you give it away
I think we
in a
also.
tournament.
I think the way that I'm also looking at is that let me look at Julia's tournament. Julia has an Azumi loss. I think she's going to have. Julia has a Micah loss. I think she's going to have, and then she has Utami, and that's it.
Hmm.
So I see two upsets in her future, and then Utami is a wild card. Um, I think that
Yeah,
Julia can use a win here.
that's fair. Yeah, I guess I could go with that.
So yeah, I would say Julia over Momo here.
All right. The main event then is Mayu Utani versus Ami Sourei.
Okay, main event.
Um,
Okay, this is a valid main event though because and
it's Mayu.
yes, but because Natsuko is at 12 points, uh, everybody is everybody is eliminated in their next loss. It's not
Well,
Natsupoi or
so
Shuri.
Mayu has 2 points still to come from what would have been the Saya match, right?
I think I'm looking at something different from you.
Well,
Because for me right now, Mayu has 7 points.
yeah, okay. So mine has 5, but it has the Saya match grayed out, so
Yeah, because
that would
Saya
be
was going to be her
7.
second to last match.
So she could have 13, couldn't she?
If she wins all three of her matches coming up, which is Ami,
Oh yeah.
it's Ami, Kid,
All
and what's
right.
her
Oh
middle
yeah.
match?
Okay.
Uh,
I don't know. Oh,
Mayu,
Suri.
Kid,
Suri.
Mayu, Shuri, and yeah. So this weekend, right? And I told
Okay.
Scott this because I wanted to get his hopes up. Uh, if Mayu wins both of her matches this weekend, she's the favorite to win the
All
tournament,
right.
in my opinion. Uh, because at
Wow.
that point she has Kid, who at most she would draw against, and
Mm,
her drawing would mean Natsuko goes through. So basically, if Mayu wins her two matches this weekend, it is between Mayu and Natsuko. Outside of the
okay.
very off possibility that Kid sneaks out a win against Mayu, which feels like that's not this year, personally.
No.
Um,
But we do
she might
have to
draw.
start getting away from Mayu beating the brakes off of Starlight Kid every
Yes,
year on
but
the
but that's
final.
but that's what I mean is I think it's more likely to be a draw for me.
Yeah.
That's why I've been
Okay.
seeing this entire time. But if she wins these two matches and then she draws, that means Natsuko wins the tournament.
Okay.
Um, so she,
Well then,
yeah,
Mayu wins here.
Mayu beats Ami. The big question is the Shuri match that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Um,
Yes.
but with this win from Mayu over Ami, Ami's the first wrestler eliminated from the tournament. Before
Wow.
Hanan, before anybody.
This
Uh,
kid. Oh, Natsupoi is out. Is she?
Natsupoi's
She's
not out.
rest.
Natsupoi's.
Is she not?
Wait, what do you mean? Is
Well,
she not
I
on the
mean, is
card? Are you saying?
no. I just mean is Natsupoi eliminated, but I don't think so.
No, Natsupoi's
Four
like
one
in
and one.
second.
Yeah, I just didn't know if she had enough matches left because she's 4 points left to get. Yeah, 4.
I have so many
So
spreadsheets open, you don't even understand. I'm trying to look for where I can
okay.
answer this question.
Um, I
No,
don't know.
Natsupoi. So the big thing is Natsuko at most can lose 3 times.
Right.
If she loses to Suzuki, she's gonna be 6-3. So anybody with 3 losses that isn't Kid or Suzu can't win at
Right.
that point if they have 3 losses. So we're looking at Mayu, who has 2 losses and 1 draw. If Mayu wins all of her matches, then she will just barely squeak out a win over Natsuko
Right.
with 13 points. If Mayu loses one more of her matches, she is at 3-3-1, and that means that she can no longer beat Natsuko because she just by default would tiebreak lose against Natsuko. And so
Okay.
for who are you asking about? Like about Natsupoi.
Natsupoi.
Natsupoi has 6 matches. She has 3 more to go. Um,
So she
technically,
has room to go.
she has
Still.
she has room to lose one more match,
Okay. All right.
and then yeah,
Interesting.
that's where we're at. It's Natsupoi and Shuri are the only ones that have any room whatsoever, and Tam, but Tam's Tam.
All right. That makes sense. So
I
yeah,
hope that made
Mayu's
sense to everybody.
yes. Okay. So Mayu is winning here. Um,
Yes,
and
and
then
Ami's
we
first eliminated.
So the next show to preview then is a pay-per-view. This is on September 3rd. This is the 5-star special in Hiroshima, supported by SoftBank. Oh, I left out the Starverse Presents. Really, really disappointed in myself there.
How dare
Um,
you? Hakpu.
um, this page did not translate, so that's great. That's always fun. Now it
Love that.
translated. I
I mean,
love
you have
that.
the pictures. You have the pictures.
That's
You have the
fair.
pictures.
That's true. Um, I mean, the attendance talk. I know you don't care, but only the front row is sold out. That's kind of
This is Hiroshima though, so it's like it's a bit up in the air.
yeah.
Usually, they only run this like once or twice a year.
That's true. I'm just
Twice a
surprised.
year.
Like usually there's at least like 2 different ones, but they just like, nah, we're only getting one. So
We also never know because you know what happened last time.
that's true. But
Shinobu Kandori,
yeah,
baby.
I don't think the Dump Matsumoto stands are gonna be walking up for this one, but maybe,
It's true.
maybe. The opening match of this card is a three-way battle. Oh, this is a dark match. So the dark match is a three-way battle. Amisore, Lady C, and Yuna Mizumori. Who knows? It's the dark match. We probably won't ever see it.
Ami. Yeah.
That's true. The match after that,
Thunderbolt.
also a dark match. Azumi and Miyu Amasaki
Oh,
versus FWC. Wow, crazy.
I was excited for this one. This was I've seen this match before. We've
Yeah.
seen this match. It was last year's Goddess
Oh yes, yes.
tournament. Um, uh, Hazuki just beat the fuck out of Miyu, and
Yeah,
that's what happened in that match. So I imagine that will also happen in this match.
possibly.
Uh,
N-
this seems like a match that would be really good on pay per view because FWC is always good on pay per view.
As an
So it's a
opener,
shame
it
that
would be a lot better than the actual opener, I feel like.
yeah,
But
yeah,
hey,
it's a
I
shame
won't complain about shorter
yeah, this would be really
cards.
good.
I mean, I think streamlining your cards is a pretty great
I mean,
thing.
this is a long fucking card. Let's be clear.
That's true. That is true. The actual opener of the show then is a six-woman tag match. Maika, Tekla, and Megan Bain take on Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May, and Hanako. So, pretty
Club
interesting
Venus and its
pairings.
bouncer.
Yeah. So, I mean, Rose Gold got one over on Megan Bain on the last pay-per-view. So I don't know if they can do that again. I mean, Tekla is right
No.
there, but I would suspect Micah can turn the tides here.
Yeah, and Hanukkah's. So I feel like Hanako Megan Bain is such a rough matchup for
That's
Hanako.
true. That is true. All right. The next match then is a Blue Stars block match. It is Utami Hayashishita versus Momo Watanabe. Um,
Boy,
this
oh
is a
boy.
pretty big match. This is a feud that they never fully paid off. Mo turned on Queen's Quest. I think they tried to do something then, like way after the fact, but it was like, oh, it's a bit too late now. Um, hmm, who wins this?
I feel like this is a Momo
I
win.
think
Um,
at that point, isn't
maybe her
Utami just
last.
like out of the tournament or something? I don't know. No, it's
No,
pretty hard though. It's a
because
pretty uphill
where are we
battle.
sitting? Utami then sits at three
Yeah.
and three. If Utami beats Mariah May, which she probably will, she sits at three
Mhm.
and three. Momo would be at 4-2 in the event that she
Okay.
or she loses to Julia, yeah, 4-2, and then yeah, I mean it's so log jammed, man. Like it's everybody's on the same level, and like I said, Momo has another match to lose, really.
What's
Um,
Utami's running? Because I know she's got Julia. She's probably got.
um, she still has Hanan to
Okay, so
go.
she'll win that.
She still has yes, she will win that. Let me check this right now. She has Hanan, Mirai May, which is happening soon. She has Mirai,
Mm.
Momo, and then she has Julia. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
hard
just
though. Hanan she
if she
wins. Mirai she
I
could
feel like if
win.
she beats Mariah and Hanan, that's what, 8 points?
Yeah, from here
And
that's
then
8 points.
she probably beats Julia, but that's only 10. So unless she gets points off Mariah, but I don't know. That's kind of an interesting one.
Do you think she beats Julia
Yeah.
as well?
Oh yeah. I think the only thing is now that we don't know if they're doing the briefcase thing, because it doesn't seem like they are. Like if Utami was winning the tournament, her losing to Momo would set up a briefcase style match, but they aren't doing that
Mm.
anymore because they kind of seem to drop it. Um, like I don't know, I don't see a point in Momo winning, but
You know, actually, I think you're probably right because the way I went into this tournament, I was expecting Momo to not struggle, but definitely not be at the top of the block, uh, like she
yeah,
is now with still another match to go. Um, to be at 6 points with less matches than anybody else is kind of insane for her. So not anybody else, like Micah has about the same
yeah,
amount, but still, you get what I mean. Uh, I think Utami winning is far more likely now than I did at the beginning. Like this felt like such an easy Momo win because it's like she
yeah,
needs something, but it feels like Momo's getting a lot more than Utami is. So I think Utami might be the one that
yeah.
needs something.
Especially if we're
So
still
this is a
sticking to the
toss up.
idea that she needs to win the block. I mean, 12 points. wins the other block, so 12 probably wins hers. So beating Momo gets her in
Yeah,
line for
and
12. And she can drop to Mirai then as
mm,
well. I would assume that's more likely.
yeah, and then Momo goes to 3-3, middle of the
Yeah.
tournament. She still has some to go. Uh, I'm looking at what Momo has next. Momo doesn't have much left actually. I think
Well, 3 and 3 would leave her with 3 left.
mine.
So
Yeah, so she would have Hanan, who's
yeah.
could upset Momo. I feel like
Eh,
Hanan could upset Momo. She won't, but that's a
we'll have to
Momo gets
see.
upset
We'll have to
pretty much
see.
every tournament. Um,
And Azumi, of course.
yeah,
So
no, I
yeah.
think it's a new Tommy win. I think it's a new
All
Tommy
right.
win actually. I think you're
The
right.
next match then is a Red Stars block match. It is Tam Nakano versus Starlight Kid.
This is Starlight Kid's tournament,
Yeah.
which she wasn't going to win anyway, but she will be officially
Oh, right.
eliminated.
So you think she's
Uh,
losing to Tam?
I don't
Okay.
know. The fact that I feel like and this is where the math comes in, right? The tournament on the red side is so
Yes.
fucked right now because Natsuko is doing so well, and because Saya is out, so she's
Yeah.
doing even better right now. 'Cause I imagine Natsuko's probably losing to Saya. Well, the entire thing's different, but besides the point. Um, Basically, the next 2 weeks are going to be really hard for
Right.
Kid, uh, because she has this match
Mm-hmm.
that she needs to win to even be still involved, and then next week she has Suzuki, which is a sudden death match
Right.
between the both of them if either of them lose. Issue is that Tam also has a lot of matches that she has Suzu next week, where it's like, okay, can she lose 2 in a row to keep both Kid and Suzu in? Probably not. She's the world champion. 3 in a row because it's Natsuko. Um, so all the Starlight Kid fans out there might need to cry me a river because I think she's eliminated and she loses to
Right.
Tam.
Well, it's either Suzu or Kid loses to Tam. And
Yeah, and
okay.
that's the
So
elimination.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Suzu losing would kind of go counter to a lot of the stuff she's been talking about recently. Because isn't that at that
And
generational
Suzu also
struggle
has
Karkin? Okay. Yeah, I feel
yes,
like you can't have
yes.
Suzu lose that. So
And the other aspect is that Suzu has Suzuki week
right.
before the end of the tournament, and if Suzuki lasts that long, that will be a
Right.
a sudden death match as well. And if
Yes.
Suzu lasts that long, um, so it feels like Kid is just getting
Mm-hmm.
left out to pasture here, and that's going to be like a bigger match is Suzuki Suzu. I think Suzuki probably beats Kid next week, and then
Well,
she's
yeah.
into the
I mean,
Suzu
kids
match, and that
tournament is
matters.
obviously going to be what she does on the last
Oh, and that's the
day,
point
I
match,
would
which is rough.
imagine. So
Yes,
she can get
but I,
eliminated.
I still feel like they probably want to keep Hazuki in until the
Hazuki
Suzu
probably does the
match.
opposite of what she did last year and just like goes on a run. So yeah, she'll stick in. So yeah, I think
Exactly.
So
But the issue
Kid
is
loses to
she can't
Tam
run against Suzu.
because Suzu probably beats Tam to set up a
Yes,
red belt match or just to do the generational struggle stuff. Um,
just
yeah,
for Suzu to survive
yeah,
until
because you cannot
closer to the
really
end,
have
pretty
Tam
much.
lose 3 in a row, and Kid, her tournament is going to be fucking up Mayu on the final day, probably theoretically. So all right.
Theoretically. I think Kid was just kind of poised for a
Yeah,
pretty weak
she's.
tournament
I
anyway.
mean, we.
And that's not me being a hater. I just think I think post passion injection that was kind of
Yeah,
what I saw is that it's like okay she's not
she's
having the run
downsized. She's
that
downcycled.
some people
It
might
was
want.
about time
Yeah,
she'd been in the spotlight basically since the heel turn.
I agree.
Everybody has to do it.
Hmm.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah, downcycle her.
Yep.
Let her get a big
On the
moment
headline.
against Mayu, and you can heat her back up when you want. And I think that's okay. So the next match, and this is an interesting one. Red Stars block. Mayu Iwatani versus Suri. So yeah, I think the record.
As I said, this is pretty much this is pretty much whether Mayu wins
Right.
the tournament or not.
I mean, Mayu
For
has
me,
to win. I feel like her being in contention on the last day is very important to Starlight Kid. So,
yes, but again, that this also means that only Mayu or Natsuko could realistically win. Because if she wins these two, I believe these are her last two matches, if I'm not correct.
Does
Before
Suri
the
not have
final.
like loads of
Yeah,
matches still
so
to go? I feel like I've barely seen her.
Shuri has Saya, which isn't happening. She has Tam, she has Kid after this match. So she has 3 more matches, actually.
Does she not have a fourth?
She has the Mayu match, she has the Tam match, she has the Kid match, she has the Ami match.
Right. So there's a lot of points there for Suri to pick up still to get herself
Yes.
in contention.
So, but to explain a little bit of what I mean by this is basically Mayu's tournament, Mayu or Natsuko, if Mayu beats both Shuri and Ami, is that Mayu will move up with the addition of the 2 points from Saya. Mayu,
Should be
where's my
on.
chart? There it is.
I don't know. Should be on 9, wouldn't she, by this point?
So Mayu, if she beats Ami and she beats Shuri, oh, wrong one. I'm putting in the math.
Okay.
She will be at
Right.
9 points. And she will have
2.
oh, she'll have 2
Yeah.
more to go, huh? She'll have Kid and she will have just Kid. Wait, what am I
Do
doing?
not add in the 2 for
Oh, I'm an
Saya.
idiot. I didn't add in the 2 for
Oh, right.
Ami.
Okay.
That's what it was. So if Mayu wins out this weekend, she will have no more matches. She'll be
Right.
at 11 points. Um, outside of Kid beating Mayu on final day, Mayu or Natsuko is the only 2
Right.
people who can
But
win.
I think
That's
by
not
now we've
Shuri,
all
technically.
come to terms with the fact Tora is a very likely finalist, unless Mayu is
Yes.
simply winning.
But that eliminates Suzu, that eliminates Hazuki, that kind of
Yeah,
eliminates Shuri,
yeah,
that
you're probably okay
effectively
with that
eliminates
though.
Tam.
You're probably okay with that.
I'm just saying it would only mean 2 matches matter on the last
Yeah,
day.
but I mean they've got an entire other block for that stuff. So
This is
I
true.
think Mayu has to win because I feel like that's the most important element.
I like I've been saying, I think if Mayu wins these 2 matches, I think she
I don't
wins the
think so.
tournament.
I think if Mayu was
I
winning
think
the
they
tournament,
run.
she'd
I
have
think they run
dropped
Tam
the
Mayu.
IWGP belt. But that's just me.
I don't think it's that important
I
to
don't
them at
know.
this rate.
I don't know.
I think Tam Mayu, like maybe not double gold, but Tam
Yeah.
Mayu
Well,
IWGP versus Red.
I'm
I
definitely
think
not
that's a
like
match they are
ruling it
competing
out,
at.
but I think Tora could just be the finalist. But we will have to wait and see. Um,
I feel like I said, I feel like I'm just so uncertain about everything in
yes.
Blue Block. I don't know if I would see any of them winning
You know,
at
they
this
did
rate.
that last year.
I'm really
They
not
did that
feeling
last
Utami
year
anymore.
though, and
You know what
by
I mean?
the final day, we were like, "Oh, well, Julia's just going through." S- So, like, things
This is
can
true.
fall into place. So I wouldn't be too panicked about it. But we'll have to wait and see, really. The next
Yeah.
match, anyway, was a high-speed championship match. Saki Kashima defends against Momo Kogo. And, I mean, Saki is retaining. She isn't dropping this to anyone other than Mei Sarah.
Yes. This could be fun though. I
I
mean,
would imagine it's
we'll
better than the
see.
Koguma match.
Eh, yeah. It depends on what Saki's up to,
I think
what she's feeling.
should be good. I think
Yeah.
Kogo would at least carry it, even if not, because she'll do the whole "Oh my God, I love you" gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She really gives
so
a fuck.
I think
Yeah.
she will make it work. Um, Let's see. The match after that is a Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Saori Anou and Natsupoi against Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sarah. Yeah, Mei Sarah and Suzu feel like very standard V1 fodder. Just because,
Which is a shame because it would
yeah.
be so fun if they won
But I mean,
both.
they
I would
don't
love
have
it so much. But
factions, so
yeah.
it's just very unlikely. To me.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, this match means that Natsupoi isn't winning the tournament, so
Oh yeah.
I'm
Well,
rocking with it.
she was never
I'm
really gonna
rocking with
win
it.
the
Yeah.
tournament, sadly, even though she's the best wrestler on the planet. Um,
Yeah. Cry me a river.
so
I'm using that
of
every day now.
course.
I hope you know that.
Um, so the website has the last 2 matches in an order that I don't think they're going to go because I doubt this.
I don't think any of the show's gonna go in the order that it's laid
No,
out.
because
I
there's
feel
like a
like
0% chance the strong belt main event's over the Wonder
yeah.
title, but the
I
website.
also don't think that even the high speed belt goes over Mayu
I don't
Shuri.
know.
You
Sometimes
know what
they
I
do
mean?
like to like get the GP stuff out of the way and then do the other stuff, so I don't really know, but we'll have to wait and
I would
see.
prefer it if they ran the GP stuff all first
Yeah,
before any of the like tag matches and shit, because that's usually what they do for like non-GP. But this is a Hiroshima special.
yeah,
It's a
that's true.
5-star special. It's dumb. It's dumb.
Anyway, the next match on the lineup is the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Mirai takes on Konami.
Let's see what Konami's been cooking.
Yeah.
That's the story
I
of this
mean,
match.
I feel like at this stage she's pretty much back. If not to Stardom, then to wrestling. Like she's going to America.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's true.
there's no more.
I forgot that that was
Yeah,
announced
like
already,
this
like publicly.
woman is wrestling, so I think she's going to look better than she has since the Julia match. And this will probably be very good. But I mean, Mariah is retaining. Like you aren't.
You know, I'm looking at Konami right now. She kind of looks like an anime character. Maybe she's in the New York thing. Look at her like brooding
That
stare.
was
Um,
an assumption floated my way by people. So I
hmm,
think maybe that's why Kitsune got her is because she's over already. But I don't know for
it's
sure.
possible.
So who knows?
Maybe. Um, she's losing this
Yes.
match, but I am interested to see what her first big singles, like genuinely like big title match
I like how you had to
style.
add that because last
I
time
know
I
she
was
had the
like
Shuri match.
the
I know she
Suri
had the
match.
Shuri match.
Yeah, I like
I
it.
know the Shuri match
Okay.
happened, but that was like that
Yeah,
was different. Like this feels like the first actual show me what you
yeah.
got type of match since the Julia
And
match.
I think she'll pass with flying colors. I mean, she kept up with
Yeah,
Hazuki.
I'm sure it'll be really good.
She can keep up with Mirai. So I think she'll be okay.
Yeah. When did she
A
keep up with
tag.
her?
A
When
tag
did that happen?
match. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
um,
Yeah, no, that'll be a good match. I'm excited to see the limb work in that actually, because I think Mariah's a underrated seller. Uh, and I think she can kind of do good
yeah,
against Konami.
definitely. And then the last match on the lineup is the NJPW Strong Women's Championship match. Julia defends against Risa Serra of Prominence. This is a Julia. I mean, Julia's retaining. She isn't dropping this belt.
I think Risa Sarah should win.
Yes, of course. Because Risa Serra is also off to that anime fed thing that is
Yeah,
maybe exists. I don't really know. Um,
she's also in Diamond
yes,
Egoist. If
that too.
anybody knows about
Um,
that,
but yeah, this
talking
is
Shima,
a Julia defense because
Kate
she
Tenkai.
isn't losing. I don't know who's going to challenge her next. Probably another outsider. Umisaki maybe. God knows. Tomoka Inaba. Throw names at a wall.
That'd be
Just
fun. I think
throw
Inaba
your
gets the
names at a
result.
wall.
Um,
Um,
well, I mean, it's already September. Maybe they just wait out until like
um,
here,
possibly. Yeah,
because I don't think there's any other
that's true
big
actually.
shows between now
Yeah.
and
Well, I don't know.
October.
Impact might want her for something. Have they got Bound for Glory soon?
Potentially,
Are they still doing that?
they do
They
have
could
Bound
ask
for
her
Glory
to
pretty
Bound for
soon.
Glory. I mean, they seem pretty like into the New Japan connection now, so they might get Julia back for that. Maybe not. I don't really know, but yeah,
It'd be against like Diana probably, but that would mean they would have to have their girl lose on the
she already
show.
lost to
So I don't know if they
Trinity.
would
I
do
think
that.
she's fine now to lose. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah, I don't know. I
Was that
haven't
match any
yet.
good?
No,
Did you see that?
I'm so far behind. I haven't even seen Sari and Arisa Nakajima. So
Me
yeah,
neither. Me neither.
yeah.
Everybody's been getting
Oh,
upset
cause
with me that I
like
haven't
I
seen
was
it
meeting
yet.
people at like Eve and before All In who are Joshi
Hmm.
fans who were like, "Oh, did you watch the Sari match?" I was like, "No, I was traveling that day. I still haven't seen it. It's great." But yeah, so no, I'm a bit behind, but I will watch Trinity versus Diana and Sari versus Arisa probably today, probably after I somehow find a way to watch Chelsea versus Wimbledon. So, um, yeah, so that's that. Julia's retaining. This is a fun looking card, but I really don't know if there's going to be anything major happening. Um,
So much on it. I love that you say that. There's gonna be something really stupid.
Probably.
Like, there's gonna be
You
some
know,
major development
I
for no
mean,
reason
I'm
because
I'm
it's
still
so good.
waiting for this Sari woman to like get her balls together to challenge Mayu. Uh,
Well, I don't know if you have
I
been
have been
spoiled on the
spoiled.
Arisa Nakajima match. Don't think that's
Well,
happening anytime soon.
they're a small fed. They can afford to have their champion lose to Mayu.
Alex,
Well,
Alex, let's be real.
I am.
Not only is Saori not losing to Mayu, but the Beyond the Sea champion Saori is not
I
losing to
don't know,
Mayu.
man.
Um,
I
I
think they
just
would
don't think
just be
there's
happy
a
to
chance
have
in
their
hell.
belt put out there.
Yeah, I guess. Was Yoshiko the champion when Mayu beat her years ago,
No, I don't think so.
or did she lose
She
it
dropped
already?
it to, I think Venny was jump, but I don't know. Cannot remember. It was either Venny or Arisa,
Maybe it was
because they're like the only two people who have held it.
and Rio,
Oh yeah.
but I think
Oh, and
that's like
Hiroyo for that one like, random spell.
that was
Yeah.
so depressing. I was like so excited for her to be champion, then she was immediately not
Yeah,
champion
that
anymore.
was the one of the peak of
I
my
was like, damn.
cynicism eras. I was like, oh, you're just not gonna let Hiroyo Matsumoto do anything. Great, cool. But yeah,
That was in
yeah,
2021. I think it was vacant
maybe.
because Yoshiko vacated it, and
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
it's
None
fine.
of this matters.
But yeah,
Um,
I don't know. I just I don't know. I feel like somebody has to challenge somebody. So we're gonna get something surprising because it's either Julia or Mayu. Like,
uh, yeah, I don't know. Where is
yeah,
Mayu's against Shuri? I mean, if Shuri beats Mayu, she could challenge her for
yeah.
the IWGP
Well, I guess maybe.
like
I don't know
immediately.
because I feel like there's been no New Japan hasn't said anything about a historic crossover, so I assume they're not doing it. But
Yeah,
you'd
which is
have
a
to
shame.
imagine
I
that
like
belt
that
pops
card.
back up on a New Japan show soon because it's been a long time. So I don't really know. I just feel like either
I'm actually shocked they didn't get it for like a
yeah,
destruction, like
I
such
don't know,
for
man.
just a small little
But
title.
I just assume Julia or Mayu will get a challenger that like is a bit out of left field because that seems to be the path we're going down now, just like fully. So
I wonder who the next white woman is, because I feel like we're about due. Like I feel like it's
dude,
we.
I've
I feel
given
like
up on
they
predicting.
by
Like they just
now.
pull the most random
Yeah,
people ever. Um, like
because like we're
yeah,
we're sitting at two. We're sitting at two right now, and it's like it's been a few weeks. It's been a month or two since Megan Bain debuted. So it's like
you're
I
gonna
feel
need
like
somebody for the post
I feel like
GP
they might
run.
be
Yeah.
sizing themselves up.
Um, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's quite honestly, they just seem to pull whoever. It was pointed out to me that they did start following Alice Inc. on Instagram or something. So it,
Who is that? Do,
I've
am I
brought her
mixing?
up before as
Am I
somebody who I
dumb?
think is really cool. She's like
Okay.
Swedish, I think. She does kicks. So yeah, apparently Stardom is following her on socials now.
Very like
So maybe Alice Inc. is coming over. But last time I said that, she was booked in some intergender fed in Copenhagen or something. So maybe not. But yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's some other random European. Maybe it's some top of the line American. God knows, really. With Stardom these days. So yeah,
we'll
indeed.
just have to wait and see.
But that's that. I think that's the show. I don't think we have anything else left to discuss. I think my match kicks off in 5 minutes anyway, so we
No.
made great time. So,
Ooh, you know what? We've kind of. I know you said that we might not do this anymore, but it's been a few weeks. What's your top three matches right now,
oh
if you have
lord,
them?
I think
Because I
it's.
have
I
them.
don't think anything is
I wrote
broken
them
into
down.
my top three since we last did it. Like it's still.
Really?
I can't even remember what number one was though. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was Siri Suzu was still one.
You might have had Natsuko Suzu or Shuri.
Oh, it was
Natsuko Shuri
Natsupoi
over
Siri
Shuri Suzu.
Siri Suzu. I think it was like Ano versus somebody. But
Maika?
might have been Micah. But yeah, I don't think anything has broken into that range since. Like
See,
everything's been just below it.
my top three is probably Shuri Suzu at the
Yeah.
one, Tam Mayu at the two,
Oh yeah, that was class, wasn't it?
and I don't know about my 3. Like I've been deciding because like Utami Azumi is always my favorite match at the tournament. Let's be
Yeah, of
real.
course.
But it's like so it was great, but I don't know if I would put it there. Natsupoi Mayu I was actually really fond of. Same with Natsupoi Shuri. So those 3 are kind of like lingering around the same area for me at the number 3. Um, but yeah, Shuri Suzu and Tam Mayu are like my standout number 1 and 2.
All right. Well, that is that show. We will be back
Yes, it
next
is.
week to discuss the Natsuko match from the Sendai Girls Big Show in Niigata. We will review the
Mm,
pay-per-view and whatever's up from the Fukuyama show. And then we have some big shows to look ahead to. Dream Tag Festival in the Yokohama Budokan and the Korakuen
mm.
Hall show with some very decisive
Generational
matches.
warfare.
We have
That too.
potentially huge Julia and Micah match on that show. So we could
Yeah.
be in for a very landscape changing week. So stay tuned.
That could be the day that makes or breaks DDM.
Yes, very much so.
Because I imagine either like Suzu joins or
Yeah,
Micah leaves. Like I feel like that's where we're heading, and
has to
one
be.
of those things is going to be good, and one of those things is going to be also good, but
Yes.
bad for Julia. Very very bad for Julia.
So yeah, we're strapped in, ready to go. But with that, it is time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yo.